Morning, welcome back. On my way to do another day with the Rangers, and today I thought I'd talk about, is university worth it in 2026? Is higher education still worth it? Should you go to university? Should you go to college? And I'm speaking on this from the perspective of someone who's about to graduate. This is my last university trimester. I've been there for, well, technically this would be my 6th year since I started university. Yes, I mean, I've been on and off during that time, and it's been one of those years was a gap year. It was I've had quite a rocky road when it comes to higher education, which definitely shapes my perspective now. So overall, for myself, I don't regret going to university, particularly not now. However, the first few years that I went, really 3.5 years of it were pretty much useless for me. Pretty much useless, because I've switched overall since I started 6 years ago. I switched degrees twice. I really wasn't 100% set on any certain path. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. Those of you who are wondering, I started off studying, what did I start off with? I started off studying business and mathematics, like a dual major. Yeah, business and mathematics, applied maths. That didn't last very long. I quickly realized I wanted something a bit more, I don't know, it was too theoretical. I wanted something a bit more connected to the real world. I'm not having a go at that. Like, if you can study maths, great. And of course, business is always useful to know stuff about business as well, right? So yeah, anyway, I quickly realized it just wasn't for me. Nothing against it, but yeah, then I switched to computer science, eventually IT. What was I majoring in? I didn't remember what I majored in. It's all a bit of a blur those few early years, but yeah, it wasn't really something I was that interested in, to be honest. I mean, I've always been good with technology and stuff. Like, I've learned things over the years, but it's more just out of necessity. Like, all right, I want to like do this, accomplish this task. I want to know how this works. That's it. And that was my line of thinking. I thought, all right, let's go deeper into this. Let's go get an IT job. But honestly, like, my heart was never in it. Those few years was a drag. And yeah, eventually I had a real think about what I wanted to do. This is after, like, I grew up in the city, and then, yeah, mid-2022, almost 4 years ago, I moved out here to the countryside. And after working out here in the countryside, living out here, I realized, what I'm studying and what I'm actually doing right now already in real life, there's a big difference. Like, there's a big gap. I needed to find something else. And I had a real think about what my interests are and what is a career path that I could consider doing. And eventually I came to the realization that I want to work outdoors. I want to work close to nature. I've always loved being out in nature. I've always loved hiking. So I thought, well, all right, that's something I like. What are the career options that can allow me to live that sort of lifestyle? And eventually then I got to the point, well, hey, why don't you try to become a park ranger? I've had that thought on and off over the years, but yeah, it's something that always has stuck with me. But then, of course, like, I thought, all right, well, let's study computer science, get a high-paying job through that. And in the beginning, I thought, well, I was good at maths in school, and third business in on top of that. It's like it was literally just, okay, what was I good at? What was I doing well in at school? And what could be potentially useful for me? And I would say that's not a very good way to go about higher education. That was the wrong way to go about it. In the end, what I did, like, when I was switching degrees and before I started environmental science, which is what I'm studying now, I actually thought properly about it. So I would say, in terms of higher education, I would say it depends, of course, on you. Like, I'm not going to be one of those people that just bashes university and says, oh, it's useless, don't go there. It depends what you want to do. I will say there is a lot of useless degrees degrees out there, and for many people who go to university, it's not worth it. I'm just going to come out and say that. I would say if you want to go to university, you should only go to university if you want to study a certain field if you want to get a degree that's basically required for a job, pretty much. So I would say if you study a STEM degree or something like law, really STEM. You could add on top of that probably law and a few others, but yeah, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, yeah, probably throw in law over that. I would say if you're not doing a degree related to that, it's probably not worth it, especially if you are a young person. Now, there's many other areas that I would be interested in studying. I would be interested in studying history, classical literature, things of that nature. But speaking honestly, there's not that many jobs when it comes to those fields, most areas. Like social sciences, humanities, it's a lot tougher, definitely, to find employment afterwards. I know people who have studied those sort of, have studied that, and yeah, they can't get jobs. There's nothing much around. So I would say definitely if you want to study, stick to something like STEM or like law. I mean, I wouldn't ever want to study law, but hey, if you want to do it, go ahead. So if you want to become a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, of course you need to study for that. And yes, anything related to those fields that I mentioned, I would say, all right, if you study that, then that can open up opportunities down the track. So I would say if you want to study something if you want to work in a career that requires a degree, then obviously go to university. And also it has to be something you're interested in. Don't just do it for prestige. Don't just do it because your parents told you to. I got a lot of when I started off at university. I got a lot of encouragement. My parents never forced me to do anything, but back then, when I was getting out of high school, they never forced me down a certain path or anything. They respected my own decisions, but they did encourage me to go down the path. Oh yeah, you're good with technology, go study computer science, get a high paying job, and yeah, it's good. I was all right with it. I was good with it, but I just wasn't that interested. Don't study something that you're not really that interested in. Your heart's not in it. Those first few years were a real drag. It was an unnecessary cost both in terms of time and money, because of course, in Australia, university is not free. So yeah, that's just added to my HEX debt. On the topic of debt, I would say if I were in a place like the US where higher education is extremely expensive, I probably would say be very careful. Be very careful. In a place like the US, I would say I would really think twice about going to university. If I were in the US, I would probably have dropped out. I think I would probably still have started up. I don't know the exact way the system works. I know you have stuff like community college, and it's a bit different over there. I know that, but I do know that higher education costs in the US are very high, very high. In Australia, it's not free like in some European countries, but basically the way the system works here is it's very different, domestic versus international students. Of course, international students, you have to pay a lot. It's probably, for an international student, it's probably just as expensive in Australia as it is in the US, I would guess. I know that from I have extended family members from overseas that have come here to study, so I know it can get very expensive for international students. But for domestic students, it's really not that bad. Basically, we have this thing called the HEX Help loan, Commonwealth supported loan that we get. So basically, we do have to pay for our higher education, but not right away. So far, for instance, I have not paid a single cent for studying at university outside of the university, what was it called? Basically, there's a small fee you pay per semester just for university services. It's like $100 or something. I forgot the name of it, but it's pretty much like a tertiary access fee. Basically, just for the facilities at the university and stuff like that. You pay that fee per study period, trimester, semester. It's not expensive. But in terms of the the actual education costs, I haven't paid anything yet. That's because of the HEX help loan. Basically what happens is the federal government will subsidize around 2/3, 75% of the your student loan. Basically, you get a HEX loan. That's what it's called, HEX help loan. The federal government will subsidize like 75% of it, and then the remaining fee you have to pay. But you don't have to pay it back until your income is above a certain threshold, which I believe is 48,000. 48,000 per year at the moment. So you basically, until I earn above 48,000 a year, I don't have to pay back any of the student debt. And yeah, basically after I earn above that, then I'll have to start paying back portions of it until it's paid off. So I think it's a decent system. It's not like university's free, but at the same time, it's like, it is helpful not having to worry about paying off student loans while studying, and also those loans are interest free. That's a big thing. I know in the US you can get really expensive loans. So I would say, depends where you are. If you're in the US, I would say, based on just how expensive it is, the incentive to go to university for me would be way less over there. Way less. Damn, that is bright. I'm just trying to look through there. Yeah, it's a very difficult time of day to drive this road. I'm going east and the sun is up. Yeah, so I would say based on that, I wouldn't go to university. But, okay, let's assume cost is not an issue. Even then, I would say there's so many other options now. Like, it's not how it used to be where like back in the day, it used to be you really would need a degree if you want to get a high paying job. And if you were, back in the day, I know this from speaking to all my parents and older people, back in the day, if you got a degree, you were guaranteed a job. It's not like that anymore. Now what matters more is actual hands-on experience. Now with my degree, I have to do a mandatory work placement. That's what I'm doing now. I'm doing a job with the Ranger Group, which is great. It's related to my field of study. I'm getting experience, and it's going to be very useful to put down on my CV as well. So now, after this, like when it comes to finding a job, I will be able to put down experience, which is like, that's a game changer. That's really good. Because you see so many stories of university graduates, they get out there into the job market, and like there's this big gap between graduating and then actually finding a job. So yeah, that's that. It's interesting. It's interesting. I would say for many people, university isn't worth it. Like, going to university doesn't really, it also doesn't mean you're really better as a person either. Like I don't like this snobbish attitude that some people have, where they go to university and they just look down on the working class and they get this snobbish attitude. I don't like that. Like, I've worked bottom of the barrel, minimum wage jobs, been with working class people. Like I came from like a average middle class family in growing up in the outer suburbs, but yeah, very much connected to working class people. I've worked minimum wage jobs, so I've sort of seen a bit of both worlds. And yeah, I don't like that attitude that some people have. Like, there's a lot of people that go to university that are not very intelligent. Let me tell you that. I can say that confidently. There's people who go to university that are not very intelligent, that are quite dumb actually. That's right, there's dumb people that go to university. No, I can't. And at the same time, the reason I say that, I mean, just look at, there's so many useless degrees out there. That's why you got to be careful. That's why I said really stick to your natural sciences and like law and medicine, engineering, like stuff like that. Really, I would say really stick to the STEM fields or law, stuff like that. Because yeah, social sciences, humanities, it's a lot more wishy-washy, and I don't know, especially with all the woke stuff that some universities push. There's a lot of dumb people that go to university. You can say that now. And at the same time, there's a lot of people that don't go to university that are actually quite intelligent. Yeah. So there's people that going to university or not doesn't equate to intelligence necessarily. Like, you have these stereotypes, of course, of like the dumb working class person and the educated, the posh educated. Like, you have these stereotypes, right? They exist from back in the day, and like I don't like that. I don't like that. I've met plenty of people that have never gone to university, and you speak to them, and they're actually very intelligent. They've got a lot of life experience behind them. They've got a lot of wisdom. And then you speak to people who go to university, some people, and they're actually quite dumb. Or rather, I should say ignorant, arrogant. It doesn't necessarily equate. Whether you go to university or not, it doesn't necessarily equate with intelligence. And I would say people who haven't gone to university, especially people who they run their own business, they have a lot of life experience, they can often gain a lot more wisdom than people who go to university. And I'm not here to shit on anyone. I'm not here to criticize or shit on anyone. It's like, we need both. We need people to go to university who get their degrees and they contribute to society. We need doctors, we need lawyers, we need engineers, of course. And my field of study, environmental science, we need people to go and do research. We need people to work as rangers. We want to take care of nature. We want to do all these things. I'm going out. I'm doing field work now, getting experience, and I want to get a job as a ranger now. Now getting back to myself. You don't necessarily even need a degree to get a job as a ranger. It depends where you're applying. In Queensland, for instance, which is where I live, you don't need a degree to work with national parks. Whereas in New South Wales, I'm sure you can get a job without a degree. But in New South Wales national parks, they have some stricter requirements. They do prefer you to have some qualifications or a degree. So again, it depends where you're applying. But for myself, I don't necessarily need a degree. But again, I'd started university already, and I was like, you know what, I started this, I want to get a degree. And then halfway through I switched to environmental science. And overall now, it's going to have been, by the time I graduate, it will have been 5.5 years since I first entered university. Granted, I've been on and off during that time with full-time and part-time studies, switched that up. And then when moving out here to the countryside, I took a whole year off. I deferred my studies. I basically took a gap year. So it's been all over the place for me. So I would say for myself, the best course of action would have been after I got out of high school. Take a gap year, even take a few years, and just go out and work and really think about, get experience, and then really think about what I want to do. Because I'm pretty sure I would have arrived at similar conclusions where I'm like, all right, I want to work outdoors, I want to work in nature. Okay, let's go down the path of being a park ranger. I remember I used to have those sort of thoughts quite a bit growing up. But then of course, wanting to be, I want to get a STEM degree, I want to, work in a high-paying job, something like that. I got caught in that cycle, and I'm at the point now where I realize, you know what, it's not necessarily about the money. I want to get paid decently well. I don't want to not get paid, of course. People will say, oh, money doesn't buy happiness, money isn't important. Yeah, money doesn't buy happiness, but I would say you're really lying to yourself if you say it's not important. It's an important aspect, of course. You want to get paid decently well. So, but definitely don't make money your only focus. You see people, they get high-paying jobs as a doctor or whatever, but you can tell that they're not necessarily happy to be in that sort of job. You have people who they work their job just for the money, especially over time, you can quickly become miserable. You don't want that to become the case. You really want to be careful in that regard. You want to work something where you get paid well, but you want to work something that you actually enjoy. And for myself, finding a fulfilling career, something that I actually enjoy, that's more important to me than money. I could have just kept going, getting a computer science degree, and probably gotten a higher paying job than I would otherwise, say, going into Ranger. But I don't regret it at all anymore, because when I first started studying computer science, that was before 6 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever, 2021. That was, of course, before ChatGPT and the AI revolution. Of course, they were already there, and it was up and coming. But look, that changed the name of the game. Now the job market for software developers, programmers, it's it's very rough. It's very rough, and people who want to get into a tech job now, it's very rough. the job market is very, very rough. So I'm glad I switched it up, and now I am on track to become a ranger. Yeah, and I'm not just going to be a ranger. Like, I want to work as a ranger for a while, get that experience and work outdoors. But I'll probably go into more research long term as well, or other similar roles. There's many other support roles. So I definitely will use this degree. But yeah, anyway, that's my thoughts on that. I would say really spend time considering, like, if you're in high school or fresh out of high school, I definitely would encourage, take a gap year. Just go out, get a job, work, earn money, get experience, just live your life, get experience, save money, and then really take time to consider what you want. Because if you're just at high school and you go to university, it's like you don't have any real life experience. Like, actually get out in the real world, enter the workforce. Just any job, doesn't matter, get a minimum wage job, get a bottom of the barrel job for a while, just get that experience, get anything on your resume. Like, it might seem pointless at the time, but I can guarantee you, like, no matter what you're going to work, like, if employers in the future see that you've been willing to do the hard work and work those sort of jobs, I think a lot of them will respect that. Of course, don't do it. You don't have to do it forever. If you're smart, if you want to go to university, I shouldn't say that. I just said before, intelligence doesn't equate with going to university. But if you want to go to university, or you have a certain career goals, of course, you don't have to work a minimum wage job like that forever. But for myself, I came out here, I worked farm jobs, I worked in a dairy. It's dirty, it's minimum wage, it's just... I wish I didn't do it as long as I did sometimes, but hey, it's experience, and yeah, I was not planning on doing it forever, but yeah, it's helped shape me into who I am today. So I would say definitely take gap year. I can recommend that, and take time to think about what you really want to do. Get out in the world, work, save money, and just do what you enjoy. If you have a hobby, pursue that hobby. And I think if you do that and you don't rush into anything, it will become a lot clearer what you should do. That's overall what I think I should have done. I should have just taken more time to really consider what I want to do. Don't rush into education. And I could have saved myself those few years, because ultimately, like, that's additional student loans that I'm going to have to take back. It's additional time that I put into a degree and stuff that I didn't end up getting me anywhere. I mean, I'm glad I switched to environmental science now, and I'm about to finish finally. But yeah, overall, I wouldn't have had to spend this long at university. I could have spent that extra time working and saving more money, investing and learning other skills. But hey, it is what it is. So that's my thoughts on higher education. I would say whether it's worth it or not, ultimately it depends on you. I'm not one of those people that's just going to bash higher education and say, oh, it's a scam, don't go. It's up to you. If you want to work a job that requires it, especially STEM or a STEM field or law, something like that, then go for it. But if it's anything else, I would say, like, especially don't go out, like, social sciences, don't go out there getting a gender studies degree and all that crap. Like, outside STEM and what I was mentioning, there are other things I would like to study, like I mentioned, history and or even classical literature. But I would say for myself, if I were to study those things, I'd probably do it when I'm older. Even if I'm like retired or something and I just want to like study for not for a career, but just for becoming a more well-rounded person. Just like you have older people and retirees that study just for like as self-improvement, really, just to become more knowledgeable and to give them something to do. That's great. When I'm retired, I would definitely consider studying like that. And it would be great in a way to study where you don't necessarily have to worry about getting a career out of it. If you're older, you already have a career. Like great. So I would consider studying something like that when I'm older. And yeah, so I'm about to get my bachelor's. In terms of further study, it's most likely no. Like, would I go for a master's or a PhD? Go for postgraduate study? At this stage, no. I'm not going to 100% rule it out. Like, if I were to say, all right, I want to get a master's just to advance further in my career, sure, I'd go for it. But I definitely wouldn't go for it straight away. Like, I want to go get my bachelor's and then just go out and work. I want to work as a ranger, and we'll see what other roles I work in. Definitely work field related. But yeah, just getting experience, work. I'm at this stage, I'm not planning to do any further study. I've spent enough time at university. I just want to I want to work in my field and start paying back those loans. It's not much, luckily. Like overall, 6 years of study almost. It's not really 6 years. It's more like with the gap year and stuff included. It's probably more like 4.5 years. It will be like 4.5 years over that time. But still, overall, my student loans in total that I have to pay back will be about 30,000 Australian dollars. That's not bad actually at all. For the amount of study I've done, that's really not bad. $30,000 Australian dollars to pay back. That's definitely not bad at all, considering the amount of time I've spent studying. Like medicine, stuff like medicine and law will be a lot more, of course, that you have to pay back if you study. But other degrees, it's really, especially with the HEX health loan system, it's not that bad at all, and it's good, especially considering that you don't have to pay interest on those loans. So overall, I'm quite happy with that system. It tends to work well for domestic students. So once my income gets above that threshold, I'm not that far off that really, 48,000 mark. I don't work full time, granted, but especially if I get a full time job as a ranger, I'll definitely earn more than that. So then I'll have to start paying it off, which is fine. I'll pay it off. But that's my thoughts on, is higher education worth it in 2026? I would say ultimately it depends. For myself, it has been worth it, but going back in time, I would have done it a lot differently. And again, going to university doesn't make you a better person. It doesn't mean you're more intelligent than those who don't go, and vice versa. There's other factors that go into that, of course. So that's it. That's my thoughts on it. I'll see you all in the next one.